Fan, short for fanatic, is the one who's screaming their lungs out in sub-zero degree temperatures, still believing when the chips are down, and never, ever giving up on their teams or their players. From the closest seat to the worst one, we want to meet you all. This is the American Fan.
What's going on, sports fans? It's your guy, Josh Williams, back again with another episode of the American Fan 365 podcast. I am here with George. George, we talked about this. You are expo down.
I am, dude. I'm dripped down to the nines and some Pedro Martinez gears.
Listen. Vote for Pedro, but George, were you even alive when they were still in Montreal?
No.
I think you're like right at the cusp.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah.
you're at the cusp. Because they moved to DC. I want to say that was like late '90s is when they left Montreal and moved to DC and became the Nationals. They used to play at the old RFK, RIP. But yeah, that's. I saw that and I was like, okay, all right. George is breaking out the jerseys.
Yeah, it's real American.
We're gonna have to do the black logo on today's show because we both decided to wear white. So
that is true.
We're gonna have to, you know what I mean? We have that capability now, though. We do have a black logo now. So
isn't that what some consider range? We got range.
We finally. I was thinking about. I was like, I can actually start wearing white jerseys again because white jerseys were not the look. But today, George, of course, is 9/11.
Yeah.
How old were you when 9/11 happened?
I was 3 years old when 9/11 happened. I remember seeing it on TV and thinking it was a stratosphere. And then once I was very small.
You were 3.
I was 3. I thought it was a stratosphere. And then I went outside and I saw the stratosphere was still up, and I was like, oh, it's a crazy movie. Like, that's literally like how I didn't know it was real. Yeah.
That's so you never even really experienced like what travel was like before 9/11.
No.
So before 9/11, man, like you literally could walk to your gate.
That's I heard that people used to hate it, like when they'd walk their girlfriend there and then wait for the plane to get there.
You could walk your girl to her gate, you know what I mean? Babe could see you off. There wasn't all this extra. Basically, you would get your ticket, from same place. You get your ticket from the kiosk or from the attendant, and then you just walk to the gate. There was no stopping. Depending on the city, some cities had like obviously a little bit more security and a little bit more checks. I mean, I guess it makes sense why planes would get hijacked because we're always crazy, but. People just didn't. There were certain aspects that just didn't happen. It wasn't nearly the amount of security now. Like even if there was security, I could still go with you. If I was seeing you off, I could still walk you to your gate.
Yeah.
I'm
not gonna lie. I don't mind it. Okay. I don't mind
secure.
It. I feel the proper amount of safe when I have to go like this. Hear the shing, shing, and then I get a dude to like pat me down with the back of his hand.
See, George, you could do better and have TSA pre-check or global entry, and
you're
walk through.
Okay, part of travel is that security line and having it. Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
Listen,
dude, it's perfect people watching. It's perfect people watching. You get the people that are stressed out. It's their first time ever going through security. They're like, oh my god. Do I have to take off all my jewelry? What do I have to do here? You got the dude yelling, the TSA agent that's always yelling. It's the
Put your no water, no drinks.
If you got a hoodie on, take it off.
This is not where I wanted the 9/11 remembrance to go.
But it's so that it doesn't happen again, Josh.
Yeah, well, listen, I will never forget. I was actually in calligraphy class. I was in my senior year. That was my senior year of high school. Because I was 01. So it was 01 going into 2002. I graduated high school in 2002. And so when it first happened, the first one, remember, there wasn't really much footage of the first one. The first one just happened.
Yeah.
And so it was really, really, you know, like that was when we all kind of started watching, like your day had changed. But it wasn't like we were going to go home. It was like, well, we'll just, you know, today's a little bit of a weird day. We'll watch the news together.
Yep.
And so while we're watching the news, when that second plane hit, we knew what was going on. And we all knew that, like, no, this is something. Like, we didn't know, you know, terrorism, or that hadn't really become a buzzword at the time. But we knew something was, there was, somebody obviously was doing this on purpose.
Correct.
And so, you know, watching those towers fall, my aunt, I think I've mentioned, I don't remember if I've mentioned this on the show, my aunt actually worked at the Pentagon at the location that the plane went in. Her and my uncle situationally had taken the day off. My uncle also was a police officer, and they just happened to be home that particular day. We won't get into conspiracy theories, but yeah, that's kind of where my family is.
Wow.
But yeah, she knew some people. Not as many people died. Obviously, people died at the Pentagon as well, but not nearly the amount of loss of life as was in New York. But you know, it's crazy that it's been 20 plus years since that happened.
It is, and I'm grateful that nobody else has tested us Americans. All right, I mean, people try to. We test each other inside America, but when people from outside, like the way the country banded together, sports was awesome. That I'll never forget the New York Yankee. I don't know who it was running with the flag. Was it Jeter?
Oh, that might have been Jeter.
I don't think it was.
I feel like that's not a Jeter thing.
Yeah, he was too young.
No, he wasn't too young. I mean, they had won. They had won multiple times. He was the guy on that team, but it might have been like Bernie Williams or someone. It might have been one of the other stars that they had.
Iconic. George Bush throwing out the first pitch at Ranger Stadium.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yep. But I mean, sports definitely was forever affected. We'll talk about a little bit later about what that means tonight for the Jets game. The Jets playing on 9/11, big game versus the Bills. But let's go ahead and get into some sports. We're gonna start off in tennis. In the world of tennis, U.S. Open, the last major of the year, the only American major. Coco Gauff wins a 3-set thriller. Coco Gauff, 19 years old. She now becomes the 10th youngest tennis player to ever win a major, ever win the U.S. Open. I'm not sure about the other majors. In modern history, she joins names like Serena Williams, Steffi Graf, Martina Hingis, Maria Sharapova, and Miss Monica Seles. George, when I wrote down Monica Seles, I was like, George probably doesn't even really know what happened with Monica Seles.
No, what happened to Monica Seles, man?
You know Monica Seles got stabbed on the court? Like a crazy fan came out of the stands and stabbed her?
I want to know more about Monica Seles.
Yeah, she was number one in the world at the time. If she wasn't number one, she was like top 2 or 3. And yeah, like it derailed her entire career.
I'm sorry.
Oh, are you pulling that up? Yeah, bro. Like, came out the stands. Yeah, international fans are their own breed.
She die?
No, she didn't die, but it derailed her career. Like, she had to take, it took years off of her career, and then she never ever was the same. She like came back. I can't remember if she won more majors, but like she was a problem. Like she won, I want to say at like 16, 17 years old. And then, was continuing on. Because remember, this is back tennis when it was a young person's game. Like the young women, young men would win. And then usually by about 25, that was like the end of your career. You weren't, what Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer did completely changed the nature of tennis forever, because they've been great all the way into later 30s. That was unheard of when I was a kid. Like, it was like by the time you was 30, like you were already on the retirement tour.
Yeah,
you were giving speeches.
You were hosting hitting camps, serving camps.
That was it. You were doing camps. That was it. But yeah. So when I saw her name, I was like, I think George is probably too young to even know what happened to Monica Seles.
Definitely saw that as a child and just didn't remember. But yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. fans. This is fans behaving badly. That is fans behaving criminally. Is what that is. Novak Djokovic breaks his tie with Rafael Nadal with his 24th major championship title, tying Margaret Court for the all-time lead. We, for many years, thought that Serena was going to be the one to tie and break Margaret Court's 24 majors, and it is Novak Djokovic, the bane of my existence, that gets that done.
It just really rubs you the wrong way, doesn't it?
It does, and I feel like he has people like literally, if we clip this and I tag Novak Djokovic, it literally just gives him more fuel to keep winning.
Yeah.
Like, because there are people that literally hate Djokovic. Like, I do not care for him. He's a bit of a snot. I never really liked him, but I can't deny his greatness in any way, because he came in mid Federer and Nadal and found his lane and won. You can't take it away from him. I pray that Rafa can give me one more ride. Give me one more ride, Rafael Nadal. That's all I'm asking.
Dude, yeah, they are. What are they pushing? 30.
Rafa's like 37, like 36, 37, because he's a few years younger than me. Not much, but he's like in my range. Djokovic is probably, I think, like 35, because he's a little younger than Nadal. Federer is 40. He's 40-ish. Yeah. So he's retired now. He's all the way done.
Yeah.
But Nadal is like talking about it. That's why I was saying I got to go to Paris next year, and you know what I mean, if you wanted to go, I got to go to the French Open. You have to see it. I have to thank Rafa, like, at least once. Wow. I can't. There's too much joy and too many hours, too many 5-set 4-hour matches that I've watched.
Dude, you know what?
That I haven't gone to.
We'll change the name of the show that week to the international fan. The international fan.
No, we're the American fan that went international.
Boom.
Is what it is.
American fan goes international.
That's it. Switching gears over to the FIBA World Championships, the U.S., we didn't even medal. And man, I went to the game versus Puerto Rico, and I knew in that game, like, even though we ended up blowing them out, there was a long stretch in that game where Puerto Rico was giving them all they could handle. And I knew that it probably, I mean, listen, we're still the best in the world. But
I want to go into this with you.
But
yes,
not only has the world caught up, but many of these teams, many of these, other countries, they have players that play against these guys. So they feel these guys in practice. They know what it's like to go up against our players. And they have confidence. They have supreme confidence. So I think really, man, one of the biggest issues with our structure is that you kind of put guys together for like a month and it's like, y'all don't play with each other, but figure it out. And, these other teams, these guys have been playing with each other for years.
Very true.
You know what I mean? And so that's kind of always the issue that I feel like happens. But what do you think? What's your take?
I mean, because this all stems from Noah Lyles and his tweet, or when Noah Lyles won his Olympic medal, and he said that the World Championship is not like the NBA Finals. Like the NBA Finals and the World Championship are two different things.
Yeah,
especially when you're a track athlete, you're an Olympian, and that's your competition. That's the tournaments that you're slated in. And I agreed with him. And then everybody had this backlash
against you.
And against Noah Lyles too. Like they're like, no. The NBA Finals is the World Championship, and I'm like, okay, I hear you out. We get the best talent from all around the world. I can see how it is. However, this FIBA World Championship, America's got to dominate it.
Yes.
No excuses of people not wanting to play. And it's like, you are validating what Noah Lyles had to say when you don't take the FIBA World Championship seriously and we don't even medal.
Losing to Canada. Dillon Brooks dropped 39.
Jesus.
Yeah, in overtime for the bronze. But to your point, it's funny because I actually, man, I have way too many sports conversations. I don't know if it comes up on my show, if it comes up on other shows, or if it's just a random dude I'm talking to in the street. Too many sports conversations. But one of the things that I was talking to them about, because they were asking me about how I felt about the new in-season tournament, and my feeling was, I hate the new NBA in-season tournament, but however, it would be more interesting, I feel like, if it was like an in-season international tournament with other teams from around the world. Or maybe,
that part.
Or maybe you get, the Bucks play against Croatia, or still like the Croatian national team, not like a club team from Croatia, but, a team, Lithuania, or one of those. You know what I mean?
Such the money play. I mean, do you not see what F1 does? Okay, they are international and they're proud of it. Okay, yeah. They're going everywhere, man, and they're not afraid of, cross-pollinating the money. You know, I feel obviously there's a lot of people at the top of the NBA that are probably like, there's a reason we don't have a team in the UK, or you have, beyond the travel. I still think you can make it happen. You can have NBA Europe. You could have NBA Asia. You could have NBA.
Well, there's NBA Africa. There's NBA Africa.
But none of those, so to validate it, all the best, just like the Little League World Series, you get the best team from each region. Yeah. You play them in a tournament.
So, or, listen, there's ways to do it. You know what I mean? To have like a world title. Yeah. But the world championships always come out of America. Yeah. Everybody wants to come play here. The most money, for the most part, outside of soccer or football, is here. So it is what it is. Yeah. Kind of just have to deal with it. But that's not all as far as the FIBA championships are concerned. Some news came out yesterday that a one Mr. LeBron James is preliminarily putting his name in the mix for this summer's 2024 Olympic Games, because of the embarrassment that we suffered in the FIBA World Championships. And really, I know I'm a LeBron hater and I don't really care for the man, but bro, at some point you have to stop making things about yourself. If you're in, be in. Yeah. You don't have to make an announcement. You don't have to, just let the guys know. Let USA Basketball know. They can put out a press release when it's appropriate. Like, hey, this is the roster that we're compiling for the Olympics. Cool.
So, yeah, I'll connotate what LeBron was trying to get across there. He's like, these weak-ass hoopers couldn't get the job done. I am the Clark Kent, the black Clark Kent of the world here, all right? And I'm going to lead America back to the promised lands, Yeah. Boom. But back to your point, all about himself. Not needed to do it. You don't need to shit on the people that sucked. By the way, LeBron, you suck. You should have already been playing.
He's 39. Like, the reason Jordan didn't play in 96 was because he already had a medal as a collegiate athlete, a gold medal, and then a Dream Team medal. He was like, let other people have the opportunity to play. Let them have an international stage where people globally get to know their name and those things. You're supposed to pass it along. Now, granted, is LeBron still one of the best players in the world and one of the best players in America, from the United States?
What would he have averaged? What would he have averaged in this FIBA tournament?
It's hard. That's hard because they don't really play like that. Like, LeBron doesn't just come on the court and he's out there for 30. He might only play 20 minutes, 24. You know what I'm saying? So averages usually in these type of settings, a guy might average 12 to 15. And that 12 to 15 might have been very impactful just because I was only out there for 20 minutes. Like, I wouldn't really, and then I'm still facilitating and passing the ball. So, because I feel like Jordan only averaged 14 on the Dream Team. Like, it wasn't.
Yeah, there's a lot more studs to spread the sugar.
Yeah, everybody can score.
Triple-double? You would average triple. He seems like the kind of, that's one of the things. Like, has anybody averaged a triple-double in the FIBA championship? LeBron wants to be the first to do that.
That's fair.
I
just don't know if he has the time.
He would nitpick it, you know.
He would try to find a way to average 10, 10, and 11.
He has a guy that just finds stats for him. He's like, just find it. I'm gonna break it. I'm bored. You know, I have too much money. I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
Let's Space Jam 3.
Please, for the love of God, no. The love of God. Switching gears over to college football, to football in general. We're going to finish with college football, NFL. Texas, George, takes down Alabama in Tuscaloosa 34-24.
Not the same Alabama team, ladies and gentlemen. You found it out on Saturday.
ABB, anybody but Bama. That's how I feel. So I'm always rooting for the other side just because, listen, you know, yes, I'm a hater of Alabama, yes. The main reason is just because, listen, the state of Alabama has not been too friendly to black folk in history. So I will never be able to cheer for Roll Tide, Crimson Tide, no kind of tide. I'm not cheering for it. So, yeah, hold that.
All right. And with that being said, they are struggling at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I heard.
It's crazy to think, and I said it, and I had to ponder a little bit. Bryce Young was the best quarterback to ever play in Alabama history. It's not even close.
Ever?
One
Joe Willie Namath came out of Alabama.
Okay. What years, bro? All right, come on now. Let's talk about the athlete. Joe Namath, great guy, smoking cigarettes at halftime.
Listen, Joe Namath in college, I won't say he was running 4.3, but he was out there clipping. He had some legs before he messed up his knee. He messed up his knee, and then that's when he was just simply a drop back guy because he was getting, trust me, surgeries back in the 60s, my man got butchered. He was like, you got a leg, be thankful. that was the surgery. So yeah, he was no longer shaking and baking. But like, if you go back and watch Joe Namath Alabama highlights,
okay,
Joe Namath was cooking. He was out there cooking.
So if that's a life cycle of an Alabama quarterback, in 60 more years they'll see their best, their next best of kin. Yeah.
Well, look, okay, Tua didn't have the arm and had studs everywhere, so it's hard to quantify. Jalen Hurts, same thing, didn't have the arm, studs everywhere. Definitely an electric runner.
AJ McCarron,
no,
really good at handing off the football.
Really good college quarterbacks.
Play action pass master.
No, that's fair. Like, really go back. Hold on. Go ahead. Fill me some dead air. I will take a good
But anyways, I picked Texas money line solely because I was addicted to the dogs this weekend. I liked the line. It was at plus 250, and when I put that in, completely did not remember that it was in Alabama. After I put that in, I was like, holy shit, this is a spot where Texas can get blown out by 50. But we do have a Josh Williams making a face over there because he read something shocking.
Yeah. Okay, we have to relax. A young Bart Starr went to Alabama. So we're going back, but still, these are Super Bowl quarterbacks. So
true.
You're setting the stage for this child to have to win multiple Super Bowl titles. Outside of him, you also have Kenny Stabler. So the Snake, Raiders history.
Yep.
Super Bowl champion.
Yep.
But yeah, after that, it's a wasteland. I'm not gonna lie.
It's pretty barren.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It does get does Chris Smelly? Yeah, I don't know who that is.
No.
Yeah, it gets a little.
But it's a
little rough.
Texas took the top off the defense all night. I was just seeing big plays galore.
Really.
I was like stuck between watching the UFC fights and then seeing Texas take care of business. I was like, oh, this game's not really in question. Alabama does have to figure out something offensively because they did not look like they're going to score a lot of points this year.
Oh, wow.
That Texas defense, you got to remember, I always think whenever a Big 12 team is playing, expect the other team to score 30 points.
Yeah.
Because they just like getting in shootouts. And when Alabama didn't put that up, I was like, either Texas is for real, but I'm going to imagine Texas playing Oklahoma later on in the season. That final score is going to be 56-45. And I'm going to be like, oh, my God. Like, how did this happen?
Oh my goodness. Switching gears, Colorado continues to impress, moving to 2-0 on the season, George, with a impressive win over conference rival Nebraska. They've already eclipsed last season's win total with just their first 2 weeks in the season, 2-0.
It did warrant the storming of the field. Good on them because they haven't experienced any winning. It did look packed. I mean, that was a fun Saturday morning college football game. I guess Coach Prime spent the night at his office. He didn't go home because he wanted to see how the stadium started with no people and then filled up all the way up until game time. So I thought that was that's iconic.
Dion is good. When I was at the barbershop, we literally were just talking, and I will say I don't know how this season's going to go for Colorado. I obviously they have Colorado State in-state rival this coming week. Next week they have Oregon. If they start off 4-0, when I tell you the amount of flips that will go from one school to Colorado is going to be electric in itself. Dion has always been cool. Like, he's always been, like, since I was a baby, he was always cool.
Correct.
And my barber Rico was saying he's a leader of men, and he isn't necessarily the X's and O's guy. So, because I was like, I didn't realize he could coach. He's like, well, he can't really coach. He really is a really good leader of men. He's a good inspirational guy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes. He could be an NFL coach. Like that. Robert Salah does the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. You saw it in Hard Knocks. You just let the offensive coordinator and the defense coordinator do what they got to do. Be there for your boys. Motivate. I mean, like, dude, coaches miss out on that aspect. Tell me they don't when it's just like give the kids just dummy confidence.
Yes.
Even if they're not there, that you telling them that like, man, hey,
nobody's working like us.
Boom. You know?
You know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to outwork us. We're doing more than everyone else. You start to instill that in people like, no, we are doing more than everyone else. So we deserve to win. It's not that we can. It's that we deserve. We've put in the work to do it. You know what I mean? But
he's definitely had a conversation with Travis. Hey, Travis, make sure you got a spot in your house there at the crib for the Heisman. Yeah. All right? Yeah. I did the same thing. You make sure you got a little spot at the crib for the Heisman.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, to kind of cool the temperature down literally on Colorado is they struggle stopping the run, especially on the left side. So when teams run to the right side of their defense, the left side of the offensive line, they've been gashed a little bit there. And as that temperature comes down, it's going to be interesting to look and see what young Sanders can actually do passing the ball when that temperature drops and that football turns into a rock in his hands.
Hey, it gets cold, and this
is Colorado. This is Rocky Mountain High.
They will have some games where they got to run the rock, and what it's showing right now is they like to spread it out. I think the quarterback Shadur is doing a phenomenal job.
Yes, he is.
I mean, I'm trying to nitpick holes in his game, but there really isn't anything that I'm like. The way he's able to get passes over the linebackers and just drop them in, those are the type of things I saw all day yesterday in the NFL. I was like, oh, you're pretty ready, kid.
That's
a big jump for a kid that was playing at Jackson State. Rest in peace to every defense he played in whatever what is that, the SWAC?
Yeah.
Down there? Good God. Like, you had to line up as a defensive coordinator against that every week? What are you doing?
But I mean, he wasn't doing this. He was doing well, but see, the thing is, he was getting the similar type numbers, maybe not as good.
But everyone was like, "You're playing Bowling
against
Green."
Nobody. Yeah. You're playing against Grambling. You're playing against these guys that everyone always disrespects. But it's like, well, was it that those defenses are actually better than we're thinking? Because he had, similar type of. Because Travis Hunter came with him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he was there. He was in this. So, you know what I mean? Like, yes. It's interesting when you really think of it from that perspective, because they were a 1-2 punch there and they were doing good, but not.
No, it's
insane.
It's amazing what a better conference, like, this is what conferences do.
Yeah.
It's a conference label, dude. It's
Yeah.
like us avoiding generic store brands. All right. And then we see Rice Krispies. All right. And then we see, drywall flakes or whatever, the generic version is.
Smith's.
Yeah.
Smith's own dressing.
Smith's. Yeah. No, give me Rice Krispies every time. And that's what's happening.
Oh my God. I want those Albertson treats. Caleb Williams continues to also impress. He continues to do Caleb Williams things, going 19 for 21, 3 passing touchdowns, 1 rush for 21 yards. Oh, it happened to be another touchdown. The USC Trojans blew the doors off of Stanford 56-10. George, your brother did San Jose State play this week?
Oh, San Jose State thrashed Cal Poly.
Good.
They fucked them up, Josh. It was a good old-fashioned, we paid the price the first 2 weeks, playing Pac-12 schools. It's time to fucking get some get back.
What was the score?
I think they beat them 58-7.
Oh, good. Well, listen, that's like
big.
Look,
bro had some pancakes.
Good. Well, look, we want them. I can say we because you know what I mean. I have shared a meal with your family, so we're family now.
Yes.
We definitely want San Jose State to bowl, to have a bowl game.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, when we were out there, it's all about baby boy getting good things on tape, just continuing to put out good tape.
Yep.
He's done it now against elite level talent.
He's done it against an SEC defense.
Yeah.
His first ever game was against an SEC defense.
For what do you mean?
Against Auburn last year.
Okay.
First game, bro.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Listen, that's great. That's great. Before we get off college football, I have to talk about my Hurricanes. And I watched I didn't watch the whole game. I was knee deep in the Madden draft. My Madden team turned out all right.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah. You know what I mean? We made some guys quit week 1. So.
Whoa.
Yeah. And he's my rival. His name is Delvin. Not Dalvin. His name is Delvin.
Because he's just bad. He doesn't.
No.
Oh.
His name is Delvin. His name is Delvin, and
it's a weak name.
Delvin is. He might be a killer in real life. But he's
close.
Yeah, he's a good dude. But we've had a rivalry for years. I've had supremely better teams, and he has ruined some playoff runs where I was the number 1 seed, and it's so. For me to make him quit was like, oh, this is lovely, and he's in my division this year. But back to my Canes. Sorry, we went on a Madden bender there. The Hurricanes took down an SEC team, George, the Texas A&M Aggies, 48-33, and really showed some toughness in that fourth quarter, especially when our starting safety, I always keep forgetting his name. He's our best defensive player. He went down in a scary tackle and had to be stretchered off and taken to the hospital and the whole deal. So I'm hoping that he's okay. But a lot of mental toughness and definitely the statement win of the Mario Cristobal era for sure. SEC team, we struggled beating ranked teams. Texas A&M was ranked. I think they were like 23rd in the country. So to do that at home was a big deal.
His name was Cameron
Kitchens.
Yes, and he sent out a tweet and he said, "I want to thank everyone for the prayers. I'm doing better. Love y'all." And I reposted it for you since you gave him some love there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we need him. You know what I mean? Safety, really, really good, but the offense looks functional. Our offense has been trash for like the last 5 years.
Yeah, I know, man.
Looks functional. Has some high profile recruits coming in, playing well. So we'll see.
They're no different than California or USC, where it's like the best recruits in the entire country are within 5 miles of you. How do you get them to stay?
Yeah.
And Miami consistently. And Miami struggled with that. And hopefully that this is like the turning of the envelope for him, because when USC is really good, when Florida State's good, when Miami's good, college football has this like buzz.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's always in the buzz.
Dame. Yep. You want Notre Dame to do well. Michigan. Michigan or Ohio State, one of the two. As long as one of those two is doing well as well. Obviously, the SEC just has those, all those big powerhouses. But you're right. It's similar to every sport. Baseball, you want the Yankees to do well. You want the Dodgers to do well. But those are definitely the marquee institutions in football for sure.
And who's the coach? Cristobal?
Yeah, Mario Cristobal. Yeah.
Getting the boys fired up there. I love seeing it.
Yeah. I mean, look. What I will say about USC though, George, that place was packed, bro.
Yeah.
That place was packed. When I went to the Miami game last year, it was not packed.
Hard Rock Stadium's hard to fill up. That's a bigger stadium than people think.
It ain't that big.
No?
It's like 60-some thousand.
It looks big on TV.
Really?
Never
Really?
been. I've never been, so
It's dope.
I'm
it's dope. So I've been a couple times. I went obviously last year before we started the show here, and went to the game, and then went to opening kickoff weekend, the Patriots versus the Dolphins. But the time before that, when I went out there, my homegirl that I brought, we went to Miami together. She had never really been to Miami. She had a heat stroke, middle of the game.
Oh shit!
And I was actually but it was okay because we could leave because that was the game that got Al Golden fired when Clemson and Deshaun Watson gave us like 58-0.
Ooh!
I was at that game.
Wow, that's something to you could see a coach getting fired. You could already start to see it build up.
He got fired the next day. He was on his ass the next day.
Come into my office.
Yeah,
you're gone.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Switching gears, George, we're going to finish the last 20 minutes of the show. All NFL.
Oh, that's back?
Yeah. Week 1, some big games, some definite surprises, especially in regards to your 13-win Saints. I ain't going to get on that 1-point victory. We'll get there. We'll get there.
He's trying to.
We'll get there. That's a slow tease. It's a slow tease.
Yeah.
Let's start with opening kickoff last Thursday. Lions Chiefs, big huge win for the Lions, George, or did the Chiefs lose it?
The Chiefs clearly lost it. No. Not even the Chiefs. Kadarius Toney lost that game single-handedly for the Chiefs. That's all you need to know about this. If you looked at the box score and you're like, oh, wow, this is a pretty even match, 21-20. Wow, close. Kadarius Toney's 3 drops were disgraceful. Patrick Mahomes said, I still have faith in him. He had to say that. Bro, your ass is not getting the ball. You are going to get replaced. There's a lot of rookies. I guess there's a rookie, last name Ross, that we're going to see a lot of.
Justin Ross. Justin Ross.
We're going to start seeing a lot of him because, Kadarius Toney deactivated his Twitter. Can't handle the heat. Not a big fan of that, in my opinion.
I guess the only flip side to that is, the internet came for him because I posted in I think it was the 3rd or 4th quarter. I was like, 1-9 is point shaving. This is crazy. He had money on the game because I swear every drop he had was a big, huge moment where it was but you know what? What I will say, what I won't take completely, from just blaming Kadarius Toney, the Chiefs had some suspect 3rd and short calls. If I saw that daggone jet sweep one more time get blown up by Detroit on a 3rd down where the drive was just stalled out, that was play calling. That wasn't just, Toney missed some moments, but there were some drives that were dead because of just bad, play calling.
Very few times do you have a defense legitimately orgasming on the field, but when it's 3rd and short and a team runs sideline to sideline, a defense is oh, I can't believe you just did that. You fucking idiots. Wow, all you had to do was get a yard and
you're forward
and you're running sideways, you morons. This is where offensive coordinators think that, they get so far into the chess game that they are
you don't know which way is which.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, it was that was I feel
there's a lot of teams that did that this past week.
Yeah. I feel like the Chiefs lost the game, but I'm not going to. And we do, I know people were coming for Mike Tirico saying, that the game was an asterisk because, obviously no Chris Jones, obviously no Travis Kelce. Shout out to Chris Jones retweeting our post. That was dope.
Nice.
And then actually once he did it, I had 5 different NFL linemen view the feed and all that kind of stuff. That post got a lot of that was up above 500-600 views in the story, and I was like, appreciate you, Chris Jones. I'd start posting more of y'all stuff.
Hey, did you see Buddy got a box seat? How do you get a box seat and you're holding out? He was sitting in between his two agents. Luxury box seat. If I was the Chiefs owner, I'd be like, you get your ass out of here. You go watch from your house. If you don't want to be on the field, you're not going to watch from the booth. Go home.
No, I won you a ring. I can sit where I want.
Dude, the agents definitely weren't like Chris Jones is in the building. The agents were like, no, we'll take 3 seats, me, my partner, and we have another guy. We have a +1 coming.
+1.
There is no sneaking his ass in.
TBD.
That's crazy to me. Is it? I mean,
it's a little ballsy. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely a little ballsy.
Wow. Yeah.
Switching gears, big surprise, or maybe something to build on. The Cleveland Browns won 24-3 over a lot of people's Super Bowl favorite, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Which is wild.
24-3 Brownies. That's man. Joe Burrow only throws for 82 yards on 2.6 yards a catch. He had 14 completions for 82 yards. That's bad.
Yeah. 14 for 31, 82 yards. There was moments in time in that game where he was bro, take Jamar Chase. Just give him the ball. Jamar Chase is 3 yards in front of you on a drag route. Start to build something. I feel like his eyes were downfield too much, and I'm going to be honest. Did you see Myles Garrett doing the crossover before the snap and then beating him on a pass rush?
The disrespect.
Dog, there's 5 people on the offensive line right there. How do you not throw at least 2 of them at Myles Garrett? He's playing Allen Iverson in the middle of the lane, and you're like, all right, no, my center's got him one-on-one. No issue.
We'll be all right.
Jeez.
We'll be all right.
No, it's concerning. It's very concerning.
Because look, listen, I said the Ravens were going to win the division. But I mean, I know most people either took the Ravens or the Bengals. Obviously the Steelers and Browns are also very good, and they'll have their say in this. But man, I definitely didn't see them losing to the Browns. And remember, when we talked about it before, we thought Joe Burrow was going to be out this game. So it was like, well, the Browns got to win this one. Mm-hmm. But Joe Burrow played, and they looked good. And that was in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
no. This was
in Cleveland?
Yeah, this was in Cleveland. So
okay, well, that's good. That's good. You held serve at home. Obviously, hopefully the Bengals are going to return and look decent the next time they play, but we'll see. Another surprise, George, or maybe it wasn't. I said that the Vikings were going to not necessarily be trash, but I knew that they were going to come back down to earth from that 13 win, going 11-1 in one-score games. I knew that wasn't going to hold. But to lose to the Buccaneers, George, this ain't 2022 no more.
I get it, okay? The Buccaneers, they lost the greatest player of all time last year. I get it. They made the playoffs last year. Remember that. Devin White, that defense, Levante David, Vita Vea.
Yes.
That's a Super Bowl caliber defense. And Baker Mayfield, people have a lot of opinions on him. Okay, I kind of look like him. So, of course, I like the guy. He won the hearts of his teammates over in that game. He laid his body on the line numerous times there, Josh, where it's like,
we have a Baker alert. Baker alert. George loves Baker Mayfield. Baker alert. Go, George.
Baker Mayfield will lead the Buccaneers to a playoff berth. They were predicted to be the very lowest of their division, and now he's got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Studs.
He does have studs. You can't take that away from him. Those studs that have also won. Yeah. So it's not like, we still trying to figure it out. Like he got some bodies out there. The reason I was laughing, because and we'll get to this clip a little later on. But a Mr. Stan O'Neill just texted me, not like Instagram. He texted me. He's got my number now. Stan texted me, bench Daniel Jones, bench the defense, bench the equipment guy too. He said he definitely has PTSD this morning, and his sneakers are still soaked from watching that BS last night at MetLife Stadium.
What a tough go you had, Stan. That's tough, man.
He was out there. Actually, and you know what, George? You have the clip that we have of young Stan in the stadium last night. Let's go ahead and pull that up.
Boy, Big Stan, East Coast correspondent for the American Fan 365. I gotta be honest, this is just, it's not good. Dallas is winning 33-0. It's absolute complete bullshit. Every time Dallas has the ball, it's not raining. Daniel Jones gets the ball. There's a fucking tornado out here. I gotta be honest, it's just bad. The whole thing's bullshit. We're gonna get ready for week 2. Back to you in the studio.
Shout out to Stan O'Neill. Remember, if you want to be a fan correspondent, please message me, message the studio, and we can definitely get you in the rotation. Also, shout out to Lawrence Stoner. He's now a Redskins or Commanders season ticket holder, and he was at the game yesterday. So got some clips of him at the game. Those will be going up on the page. But growing nationwide, bro. Growing nationwide. We're gonna listen. We are the American fan. We want your stories. We want you to be a part of this. And I want to grow this thing like that. I don't want it to just be here. I want them to never even see us coming.
Yes.
And so it starts with great fans like Stan and others that we have. We've got some, my camera guy, Carlos down in Miami. He's going to start going out and getting in front of the camera and talking to fans at Miami Hurricanes and Miami Dolphins games, Miami Heat games. So we got some stuff coming, man. We definitely got some stuff coming. So I'm excited to see just what we have drumming up. But before we go off the Bucks and the Vikings, what is his name? What is his name? JJ. Justin Jefferson. I put JT in my notes. I was like, who's JT on the team? Yeah. JJ. Justin Jefferson did have 9 catches for 150 yards, no touchdowns, but he didn't leave his fantasy football owners in the lurch.
I heard a lot of people were saying he was upset on that last drive. I mean, listen, when you're a receiver and you aren't touching the ball as much as you think you should, you should definitely text Amon-Ra St. Brown because he doesn't give a fuck if he's getting the ball. He's burying people, Josh. Best receiver in the league, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Wow.
Saying it.
Wow.
I'm saying it.
Well,
Swiss Army knife.
All I'm gonna say is Kirk going Kirk, and we'll move on.
Yeah.
49ers, Steelers. This game definitely was a bit of a surprise. The Niners go east to Pittsburgh and literally blow the doors off the Steelers, which is a surprise because Mike Tomlin usually has the team ready to play. And, for that kind of a showing, it shows that they may not have been ready to play, or just sometimes you get your lunch.
Are we over this Kenny Pickett hype? Or are we still like, oh no, Kenny Pickett's still a good quarterback? Like everybody at the beginning, preseason, I was filled with so much baloney in the ears of Kenny Pickett this, Kenny Pickett that. Kenny Pickett threw a lot of picks. He was getting sacked. I get it. The 49ers were a tough team. This game, the spread was disrespectful. A 3-point spread, and the 49ers were going to make the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
I mean, the Steelers didn't make the playoffs. They barely had a winning season.
Yeah.
They may not have a winning season this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and wasn't that Mr. Nick Diaz that said that the Steelers are going to win the division?
I get it. He was one of the ones that was filling me with the baloney, my friend. He was just store brand baloney.
Yeah, there were a few misses. There were definitely a few misses on the Nick bingo card this week. I don't post when I'm right. I just am right. I just move in it. People be trying to chastise me though. Nick, when Kadarius Toney had that bad game, he hopped on Instagram so fast.
How about Nick Day is predicting the 40-point loss from the Giants?
Yes. Well, listen, he's not the only Giants fan. Giants fans, I was talking about this again at the barbershop today. Giants fans know that they're going to beat the Cowboys one game that might be lopsided or it'll be tight, and then they're going to get blown out.
Yep.
Whichever way that happens during the season, they don't know, but they know that that's what's going to happen. So when a game gets out of hand, they already know, well, this is the blowout game.
Yeah.
Just kind of is what it is.
Them lucky Cowboys, man.
Yeah.
That was luck.
Yeah, they definitely went to work on them. Brock Purdy in that game, 19 of 29, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Christian McCaffrey, 152 yards and a huge 65-yard touchdown run. I don't know who has him in our fantasy league, but I'm sure that they did pretty well just off of that play alone. Because remember with the longer run touchdowns, you get like 10 points or something. So.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson had a 40-point completion for me and a 30-yard completion and a 40-yard completion. So yeah, the bonuses helped. He definitely made out. Whoever has them.
Yeah, the defense in our freaking fantasy league,
we
Lord
fucked
have
up.
Mercy, that defense it's a big deal.
Can you change like?
I mean, of course I can.
Yeah,
we can vote on it. If you want to vote on it, we can maybe bring.
Maybe
it
just
down.
not the tackle. I mean, I didn't know that every tackle was being counted.
Every
solo tackle was counted as 2.
Is it 2?
Yeah, every solo because we thought about it for the
individual
defensive player.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, first week the scores are like 400 to 20. I was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, look, when Graham hit me up, so on Thursday, I forget. I think Stan had the line. No, Stan had the Chiefs defense, and so Graham hits me up like, "What the heck is this?" And like Stan already had like 182 points. He's like, what kind of nonsense is this? So that was the reason why I had to check it out. Like, oh,
we respect defenses.
This is what it is. So, but Packers, Bears, George, I guess Green Bay still owns some prime real estate in the hearts and minds of everything Chicago Bears, as they also beat the brakes off of the Bears 38-20. Jordan Love, 245 yards, 3 touchdowns, his first game as the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. My question is this: was this game bigger, or is the narrative going to be bigger for the Packers or bigger for the Bears coming out of this game?
Bigger for the Bears. It's that's a disappointment, man. I all season or all offseason was thinking Tremaine Edmonds was going to play a huge role in that Bears defense, and he looked slow. Like he was late to a lot of his coverage assignments, and yeah, that it as it was happening, I was like, wow, they just keep scoring and scoring and scoring, and Matt LaFleur actually is better than I thought. You know,
I told you guys, I told everyone, I was like, listen, the Bears, they have a slow team. They don't have great team speed. Their defensive line is not very good. Their secondary is okay, especially at safety, but those corners are not that great. And I had to see them do it, and I hadn't really seen it. And but I will say, I think you're right. The narrative definitely is worse for the Bears, because this was your year to beat the Packers, especially at home week 1.
Oh man, this was going to change the narrative for the next fold.
The Packers are now they're ascending now. They weren't meant to win this game. We didn't pick them, nobody picked them. They're the underdog in the game. You win that game week 1 in division, and now everything starts going like a rocket ship for them. So to your point, LaFleur can coach. Yet another former Redskin coach that's out there doing his thing.
Where did they find Matt Eberflus or whatever his last name?
That's right. That's right.
Eberflus. Eber just has no presence to me. I mean, he's like Joe Biden level of like, I just don't see how people are respecting you. Like,
he's Mitch McConnell freezing on the play is what you're saying.
Yeah, shit like that.
Oh my gosh. All right, Dolphins, Chargers, big game in the season, and especially in terms of late season playoff implications. This game could come down to mean something, week 17, week 18 of the season. Dolphins go west and grab a huge 2-point victory, 36-34 over the Los Angeles Chargers. I always want to say San Diego Chargers.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill was outside all day, 215 yards, 11 catches, 2 touchdowns. And the biggest thing for me, George, that I saw in that game was that, the Dolphins make the go ahead touchdown take the lead by 2. And the Chargers had the ball 2 minutes, a little less than 2 minutes, in the 2-minute drill, and go 4 and out. They don't even gain the first 10 yards. They don't even get the first down, and all they needed was a field goal to win the thing at home.
Yep.
That wasn't a good showing for the new, $200+ million man, Justin Herbert.
Yeah, that leads me to question. I thought this year was going to change the stigma on people getting paid and them like performing. I asked Cameron that question. I was like, do you think you would perform better or worse if you were paid the most money you've ever seen in your entire life? And and her answer were the same. We're like, yeah, it should in theory boost the way that you play. But I think beyond just the whole payment side of it, this game and a lot of the games minus the Bengals, it was like if this was week 19 in the NFL from last season,
yeah,
all these games make sense to me. Like, I mean, minus the Bengals, really. Like every other game, I was like, oh, this is exactly how every team left off last year.
That's interesting. That's an interesting take. That's fair. All right, we got to finish out on our games. As we said earlier, your team, they squeaked by.
We squeak. We had the Tennessee Titans thinking that field goals were the most valuable currency in the NFL. They kicked 5 of them. They had chances to go for it too, and to like really just trying to break up the monotony. But Tannehill, who else is he going to throw it to except for DeAndre Hopkins? We boxed him up. We have a good enough defense to slow Derrick Henry down. But Derek Carr, I told Cameron I'm going to send him just highlight tapes of Drew Brees. I'm like, hey, bro, you see how he doesn't throw on the run? He just stays in the pocket, right? He really trusts it. Because Derek Carr is thrown on the run way too much for my liking. That's not his style. It doesn't look as pretty when he does it. And it caused a lot of incompletions that I'm like, if you were stable in the pocket, you maybe drill in some of these.
You probably would.
But a win's a win, Josh. It's the first to 13. They will go 13-4. And I think next week you're going to see them dominate the Panthers. Dominate.
Okay. All right. I mean, they should. You definitely should dominate the Panthers for sure. I definitely looked at the box score like 13 wins, huh, George? But I like you said, a win is a win. My team, same thing. But like I said before, I wanted us to win this game, by 10, at least 9, like at least 2-score win. We did not cover the spread. We won by 4. But what I will say, these are the 2 things that I will say about my game. The defense did look good. We gave up 9 points as a defense. Their only touchdown in the game came on a fumble recovery of Sam Howell going into the end zone. Yeah. So that's not on the defense. Defense only gave up 9 points. I want to say we also had, let me see. No turnovers. We didn't have any turnovers. But to win, we did. We got 3 turnovers from them. So it was a sloppy game both sides. We had 3 turnovers. They had 3 turnovers. But Sam Howell, overall, looked good. He had a nice little run on the run passing touchdown. Yep. He was rolling to his left, really. It was to Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson, pass.
I mean, that play was sick. Brian Robinson holds like a delay route, then pops out last second, and then Howell put it just right
on
there.
The money. Yeah.
Right there, man. So, I like that play. Can't believe how well Josh Dobbs did. Like the biggest thing all day that I'm sure you heard it plenty of times. Josh Dobbs doesn't know anybody's name in the huddle. Can you believe Josh Dobbs has only been here for 2 weeks? He doesn't even know that guy's name. They use the shit out of that. So I'll use it too.
Sam Howell had multiple passes over 20 yards. So just little stuff like in terms of the excitement level. We'll see if they can take care of the Broncos this week. I'll be more excited.
Yeah,
I'll definitely be more excited.
Get the ball to Terry McLaurin more.
Yeah, have to. But also remember too, Terry was coming off that injury, so he was still kind of working his way back into it a little bit.
Got it.
So I will say that we can close out talking about the Raiders beating the Broncos week 1 in the start of the new Sean Payton era. I think, listen, if the Broncos go 0-2, if the Broncos find a way to lose to my team, and they had back-to-back opening, losses at home, the sky is falling.
Yeah.
Sky is definitely falling for the Broncos.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. And, Sean Payton, I wonder when he decided to go for that onside kick. Was it when he signed the contract? Was it like when he was in the offseason, like fishing? He was like, if I'm ever an NFL head coach again, to start off the season opening kickoff, I'm going to onside kick this shit. It was a shocker, but the offense had no power. That defense is for real.
Yeah.
Patrick Surtain on Devontae Adams was like a clash of titans. It was a fun matchup to watch all night. Jimmy Garoppolo is a step up from Derek Carr. That's my takeaway.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's going to keep the thing on schedule. He's going to keep the team on the rails. He's not going to win you the game, but he's usually not going to lose you the game.
100%.
That's the difference between him and Carr. Carr can go win you the game, but he can also be the reason why you lost.
When you look at mechanics, Jimmy Garoppolo, he learned from Tom.
Yes.
They are so similar when you watch them in the pocket and the way that they move their shoulders. I think he even has the jersey cut the same way as Tom. What a copycat.
Russell Wilson, 27 of 30 for 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's not necessarily going to get it done. Not many, mostly dink and dunk. He had a big catch and run to Samaje Perine of 20 yards. That was it, but not too much. So, but with all that being said, thank you guys again for watching another episode of the American Fan 365 podcast. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Please make sure you're pushing this. Listen, the biggest way that this is going to grow is if you share the clips, if you push them out to your friends and family. That is the biggest thing that you could do to help me and help what we're building here. So I just want to thank each of you guys for tuning in. Thank you again to our lovely sponsor, Coco Love. And we'll see you guys next time.